Hello, my name is Keith. Welcome back to the channel. So there's been kind of a little bit of confusion of when I say things like, hey, we're going to do an A shape of the C chord, and you see me do this. I can see how that gets confusing because that does not look like an A shaped chord, right? This is our C. But how does that look like an A shaped chord? So in reality, that's an A shape, but I'm just distilling it down to the bottom three strings here. So what I want to do is go through some of these shapes and how I talk about them and kind of figure out what these shapes look like in their triad form on these bottom three strings. So we'll just go ahead and shoot down to the fretboard and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, we're going to be doing things in the key of G, right? So we have our G chord. That's our open G chord, and we know that if we take the E shape and play it up here, that's our G chord as well. And E shape, right? So that chord, that derives from the shape that you use in the open position to make an E. You just slide it up here, and that's our G. And then when I say E shape, and you see me doing this, that doesn't look like an E, right? But it is. If you take that full bar chord and you lift up these two fingers and just look at the strings that we're holding down on the bottom three strings and what frets, we're just holding these down like that. And if we hit all three of those at the same time, that gives us a triad. And what a triad is, it's the root, third, and fifth that make up a chord. Those are the chord notes of that chord. So in this case, the root is the G, and that's right down here on the E string, third fret. So the third is the B of that G chord, right? And that's a B. And the fifth is a D. That's our D. And the root up here is the G. Together, we have a G triad. And that's our first inversion. The first inversion of a chord is the third is the lowest in tone of the triad. So the third, in this case, is a B, and the B is right here. So this is the first inversion. And that, again, it's just isolating the bottom three strings, and that gives us a triad for that chord. And there's triads up on these other strings as well. For the purpose of this, we're not going to concentrate on those. We're just going to look at these bottom three strings here. So if we move up, we have the second inversion up here on the 7th fret, D shape or C shape, and I'll talk about that here in a second. We have the 5th right here, it's a D, and then we have a G, which is our root, and a B, which is our third. Together that makes up that triad, and that's the second inversion, right? Now, cool thing here with the C and the D, with this triad, it's the same thing. It's basically, if I play a G chord here in the D shape or up here in the C shape, if I lift up all the other fingers, this is going to stay the same. Whether my root is here or the root is down over here somewhere. Right? So that's our D shape down here, and this is our C shape up here. So essentially it's the same thing. It's a 2-for-1 when it comes to the C and D. So right off the bat, we know we have the E shape triad up here. That's our first inversion. Second inversion, C/D. And then finally, I'm going to show you the A shape right here, right? This is our G triad and A shape, and the root is on the top here. So we have the G, the third, which is a B, and the fifth, which is a D. Now we're going to go ahead and skip over the E shape, or I'm sorry, the G shape of these, because with the G shape, bottom three strings, you're going to get, I think, just a root and a fifth, if I'm correct, or root, I think it's just 1s and 5s, so it doesn't constitute a true triad in that sense. So it sounds cool still, and give it a shot, but we're going to skip over that G shape for the purpose of this video. Now, what is the importance of this? What's the purpose of this exercise? The purpose is, if you're strumming, you know, by yourself on an acoustic guitar, yeah, it could be okay to play full chords, right? But if you're on an electric guitar, you're going to want to isolate things down, because things could muddy up really quick, really fast if you're playing big chords everywhere. So we'd like to isolate down to kind of like the bare bones framework of what that chord tonality is. And that gives us these triads to work with, and in different places all across the fretboard, right? And you can even use this to bounce off of different pentatonic scale shapes based off of these, instead of looking at your roots up here or your roots somewhere in the middle here. I could just say, hey, I got a G up here, and then play off of my pentatonics from there. So that's where this whole thing becomes valuable. And I do have a couple shorts, I'll link them up here, about how to take some of these triads and turn them into minor chords. Here's an example. This is a C in the A shape, remember? But we're just isolating down here. And we take that third, and then we make it a minor chord. Because, hey, who knows how to play a C minor up here, right? You know, it's easier if we can just isolate things down just to the 3. We know we need to flatten the third and work our way from there. So I hope that really helped, and if you like these videos, again, please subscribe, and thank you for watching. You have a wonderful day. Smooth.